Hello, friends, family, followers, those we haven't met yet. I wanted to welcome you to our debut episode of our Favorite Artisans virtual event showcase. My name is Kathryn Pagura. I'm with 16 Paws Enterprises. I do needle felted animal and pet portraits, among other things. And joining me today are some of my favorite artisans. We all miss getting to see you. This is a unique year where the opportunity to go to shows and events has been taken away from all of us. We miss it, we know you miss it, and we thought this would be a great chance to connect with you and give you a little bit of a behind the scenes look at how we make our pieces and a little bit more about ourselves. So let me introduce to you the other members of this group. We have Frank Pagura from Frank Originals. He is my dad, and he is a wood turner extraordinaire. You'll be learning quite a bit about what he does in his segment today. We have Mary Watson from Silverstone Handcrafted. Mary and Spencer do a combination of jewelry that is true art. It's just beautiful and very unique and whimsical sandblasted stone carvings and sculptures. So we'll get to see some of both of that today. And Arlene Burkhardt from Scallywags, Pet Furniture, etc. She has a very unique system of taking upcycled furniture and creating pet furniture and items mostly centered around pets. And Arlene's going to show us some of that today as well. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. And in just a moment here, we'll go ahead and start with Frank from Frank Originals.
Good morning. This is Frank Pagura, and I'm very glad to have this opportunity to visit with you about something that I love to do, which is wood turning. You are looking at my shop right now. About 90% of what I do is done in this machine, but I do have backup small machines to do the same thing, but in a smaller version. The shop is divided into sections, and this section is the turning, the main turning. The other section is where the carving and the embellishment is done. Embellishment involves carving, using a die grinder, and it may be burning, it may be all kinds of things to affect the surface of the wood so you get the texture that you want. Simply what turning is taking a log, this is a log, splitting it in half, drawing pretty much the size of the piece that the blank, it's called the blank, that you want out of it. And the blank has to be positioned in a certain spot in the block, in a trunk, so that it gives you the best combination of figure and shape. Once that is done, a bandsaw will cut out that shape. And it will be something like this, which is pretty rough yet. The bark may be still on one side. Then the next step is taking it and doing what we call a rough cutting, a rough turning. And what that does, it allows us to put a tenon on so that the chuck grabs it. And it allows us to have a counterpoint so that the thing sits on the lathe and stays securely, so that it can be turning at high speed, and the chisel will carve out the actual piece that you're intending to make. Now, this time, usually you decide approximately what the size of the bowl and the shape is. And then from that point on, then the thing sits sometimes as much as a year to dry, just air dry. Now, there are methods of kiln, ovens and things like that to speed up the drying. But the faster you try to dry something, and the more likely it is that you'll have splits and checks and things of that nature. So normally air drying is the best way. So the other part of the shop is shelves where the thing is drying. The pieces are drying, and I always have all kinds of items drying in there. There is anything from a year to 2 years waiting back in the shelves. The other part of the shop is areas where you do some sanding, and one particular thing that I have is a saw that is set up to cut small segments at a particular angle. So you have all kinds of jigs that are used to get those angles on, and I'll show you some of the finished products. I love to work with local wood, so I get calls usually from neighbors or friends, and they say I have a tree down, and I go with a chainsaw, do the rough cutting first, bring the pieces home, and go from there. So I would like to show you how the pieces are done and finished so that you can see the different processes. Well, here is some of the work on display. What I've tried to do here is try to give you a little bit of an overview of the different kinds of turning. Basically, what we call free turning is what I just showed you there, where a bowl is carved out of a blank. What that means is that you spin the piece and you have your chisels in your hand and you physically by hand create the shape. That's what we call a free turning. And you really don't measure very much unless you're actually measuring the thickness of the wood in the bowl. Now, other kinds of turning require extra planning and measuring and things of this nature. So let me show you basically what a bowl would look like that is finished. Here is a set out of the same blank. 3 pieces were cored out. You can physically see a small one, and this is the shape that was able to put into it. The foot is there, you have the lip, and here there's nothing on it except the wood. This Russian olive.
Oh, wow.
And it has a beautiful figure, and it really, you can't do anything to improve on that. So
Yeah,
it's only treated with oil, clear walnut oil. And normally what we do is we do several treatments of oil. Once the thing stops taking oil, it's ready to go. And in about 72 hours, it will be nice and ready to go, and you can actually use it with food, and it's food safe. And here are some of the different shapes that you get if you want to control them. But basically is once you start, you get that particular shapes out of that particular blank. And we have a special tool that allows us to core the thing out so we don't waste as much wood. This is box elder, and it probably has a little bit less figure. And in order to make it look a little bit more attractive and break down that large stem, we just do this band of relief work, which involve carving and burning. There's no purpose for that except aesthetics. Same thing, but a walnut bowl, you notice a different shape. So the actual form is really what you dictate with your chisel. And it's the form that you move from your brain to the actual wood. But these are considered large bowls, but you can do small bowls.
Aww.
The other type of turning that we do is called segment turning. And what it involves cutting small pieces at a particular angle and gluing them together, making a ring, and then stacking each ring in different sizes to create the shape that you want to do. Now, this has to be planned ahead of time. Everything has to be measured. You have to determine how many segments you want in a circle. So you can go with 24 circle, you can go 16 circles, 16 segments, but that all the angles have to be figured out. Each of this piece has to be measured ahead of time. Otherwise, if you have a few degrees off, the thing will be bigger or too small for the size that you're trying to make.
And how do all those individual pieces stay together?
They're just glued together.
Okay.
Each piece is put together first, glued together, and then is flattened so that it has a nice flat surface for the next ring to stack on top and glue on. But this ring, this ring, this ring, this ring, everything is calculated to produce this form.
Wow.
Here we use 4 different kinds of wood. You have maple, walnut, and I think it's cherry, So, you know, you can just use all kinds of different woods. And the nice thing about this is that is really the best way to recycle wood, because the small little pieces, some of these pieces come out of furniture that has been discarded. And I cut off the pieces and I use it to make this. So it goes from being a little shelf someplace to something like this.
Wow.
One of my favorite shapes to work on is a sphere. And I have all kinds of sphere that I work with just because I enjoy the shape. This is a segmented sphere. It's about 12 inches in diameter. Has 2 woods on this one, walnut and maple. The foot is carved and designed to fit into the consideration. And the top is also carved to give it as a handle. In addition, this has a unique feature that is designed to come apart.
Wow.
Now, this is the first of this type that I've done. And there's about 250 hours worth of work on this particular piece.
Wow.
Other turning that is reasonably close to free turning is when you start doing vessels or vases, which involve inside carving, which adds a little element of difficulty, but it allows you to make nice vases of this type. Now the only reason I'm showing this is because this unit is probably 5 years old. It's been around here for 5 years because I had it this thick to begin with, and I had some real difficult pieces of wood. It's a beautiful burr, but it had all kinds of flaws. And I was trying to figure out a way to handle the top with all these holes and failures that it had. So it got from here, all the tries that I'd done, and finally it's down to this. I don't have any wood left. So I decided to do some decorating for that band so I can hide all the failures onto it. And this has some relief carving to create that form. So, okay, this right here is another feature that it's called basket illusion. And what it does, this is not a basket. This is not a woven piece. This is an actual piece of wood. It's made like a bowl first. Then all the grooves are carved. The horizontal grooves are carved in with a tool. Then all the stitching lines are burnt with a burner. And each of those little squares that is made is used as a pattern to draw a pattern into it. And each of those little carved pieces is actually drawn in with a special magic marker that is archival ink, and it stays put. So the first one that I did took a long time, but now I can actually do a piece like this reasonably fast. This is a combination of basket illusion, treatment for the outside, with some special threaded ring to hide the connection for the top part. This is all wood, and it's made to look like a giant carafe, a wine carafe. The other piece that I want to show you is considered probably a little bit more an art piece. This is a shape that I came up with to really signify what hope means to me. I call it the piece Hope, and it's a combination of segmented and standard turning on it. It's 2 colors. I like contrast, black and white, and it comes out real good. And of course, I have so many different versions of it, different shape, different size, different heights. Just to give you an idea, same approach, form, but just interwoven. The other thing that I like to do, and I've spent quite a bit of time developing, is how to make roses. This is a long stem rose that I make, and it's all wood. It has petals that are individually cut, dyed, and set into a turned little piece and carved stem. So there isn't as much turning, but more carving.
How do you get the petals so fin?
It's a wood that is called sola wood, and it's available. And it's a trunk of a papaya tree that is shaved off, and it kind of unravels like a gauze, like you would take a gauze out, and you get a real lamination, a real thin thing. I have done them with regular wood shaving from a plane, but they don't look quite as natural because they are rigid, they stay rigid, and they look a little bit more wood. Where this right here, actually, you can touch it and it feels like a pedal. Here's a little whimsical type of approach to it. What I've done is I got a zinnia with some leaves, and I put it into a teapot that I've treated to look like an antique.
But that's wood too? That's all wood?
Everything is wood that you see here, all the way down the line. The other items that I do are items that require quite a bit of carving. And this is actually a couple of turn pieces that are cut off and remounted to create the shape. This is the shell of a nautilus. And what I've done is I put it on a stand that looks like coral. The other item that I'm really good at, because I've done so many of them now, is baseballs. As a matter of fact, I don't have a wood baseball to show you because the last one left yesterday was shipped out, but I probably now am up to about 500 or 600 of these baseballs. And it's actually an actual size ball. It's figured to be precisely what the Major League ball is. Each stitch is actual thread that it is embedded into the system, so it involves carving.
But that one you have there, that's made out of wood, right? The one you're holding?
This one is made out of wood.
Okay.
But I don't have a wood one to show you. I make it in wood mostly. This is right here is painted. The surface is painted white.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And the hand is carved. The pitching hand is carved. This is another flower. And here starts from the shoe. The shoe is actually wood as well. The only thing that is not wood is the leather lace that I put in there. But everything else is wood. Even the butterfly is wood. Now, those are just few of the things that I can show you, but there are other things that can be done with a lathe. You can do pens, you can do kitchen utensils, cutting boards. So it's unlimited what you can. So thank you very much for listening to this, and I've enjoyed showing it to you.
All right, well, thank you very much. I'm going to share on the screen your website. But thank you very much, Frank. We appreciate that presentation. Okay, so our next segment is going to be with Mary Watson from Silverstone Handcrafted. Mary, we would like to introduce you to the group, and let's see a little bit more about what Silverstone Handcrafted is about.
Well, hello. Thank you very much for having me this morning. I'm excited to be here and share some of my wares and my husband's wares. So Silverstone Handcrafted, I'm the silver part, and my husband Spencer is the stone part. Silver is, I make sterling silver jewelry. I make wearable pieces that are kind of small scale sculpture, as well as traditional jewelry. I use traditional metalsmithing techniques, and also I do a few things that are a little non-traditional. My husband and I have been doing this for close to 30 years. We make our living doing this. We primarily sell at art fairs, and not so much this year. So
unfortunately,
a lot more online stuff, and that's been a challenge in and of itself. But with the help of our great hostess here, Kathryn, we're here promoting things, and happy to be here. So
aren't you also? I know you normally participate in that one of a kind show out
yes.
of Chicago. What's going on with that this year?
Yeah, no, that's a huge show. It's a great show for us. We look forward to it every year. But just like every other show since last February, it's been canceled for for actual for physical participation, and they are promoting artists virtually, and so they're every day from here through the show at this point, which is normally in early December. They've been featuring different artists, so they just popping stuff up on their website, and then you can delve deeper into it by clicking on that link and getting to us if you click on Silverstone Handcrafted.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that's a great show for anyone interested. One of a kind show in Chicago.
One of a kind show, Chicago. Yeah, it's great. And yeah, there's a few other shows that we're doing like that right now. It's the promoters have been great this year, really trying to help us artists out, doing as much as they can. Nothing's as good as a real art show,
Sure.
but it's still been great. We're super busy, super busy. I have a lot of like commission pieces for jewelry, a lot of activity on the website, and the stones that I'll show you in a while that my husband makes. We can't keep up with. They went viral on the internet last year, and just about when COVID hit, and we're super busy. So it's great.
I do have some questions later on those stones, by the way. Sure. But what about some of the I see you have some of the pieces back there that you have made. Can you show us some?
Absolutely. I'll show you just a few.
All right.
I'll start with this piece. Let's see if I can.
Yeah.
There. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little sculptural piece. It's a little figure. It's made out of sterling silver. It actually is wearable. It comes off the base, and it has a pin back on the back and a little loop, so you can wear it as a pin or a pendant.
Oh.
And then when you're not wearing it, it is a piece of sculpture.
It looks like it has like how is the face done? Is that like a carving, or what is the face?
That's a little stone. It's a little beach stone that's carved. I actually carved that one. But yeah, every little piece is carved. This is kind of hard.
It's coming in clear. How do you carve something so small like that?
Well, that one, that technique is different than what my husband does. I actually use my my roto tool. Or here, I have a flex shaft.
Oh.
It's like what the dentist uses.
It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same kind of equipment. And that's one of my best tools. I use that for everything. So for cutting, for polishing, for and the technique I use here, I'm pretty well known for it. It's I get volume to my pieces by I cut out the shape, and then I score the back, and I use that tool that I was just showing you. Just make a score on the back, and then I can kind of bend it, so I get volume.
I see. Yeah.
And it's called score forming or fold forming, and I just got contacted to be in another book about this technique.
Very nice.
Yeah,
those are individual little stones on like the body as well. Yeah, I can see that.
Right. Yeah, they're little peridot, and then little peridot in I call them ear horns. Little hands, they're just whimsical figures. You can see it a lot better on our website. So I make a bunch of these little guys. I have collectors that collect them as sculptures and then wear them as pins or pendants, and they're really cool. Cool.
It's kind of that's unique. I don't know that I've ever seen it before, where it can be the art piece by itself, or you can wear it and you can wear it different ways. So very, very clever.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you another one. This will tie into Frank's work.
Okay.
Here's it's a sunflower.
Oh yeah.
But the stone itself, there's a big, beautiful stone in the middle. It's called brecciated jasper.
Wow.
And it's a silver outline, little citrines. And then there's actually a layer underneath that is colored pencil on copper. That's what the little yellow petals all around are.
Okay.
Again,
and all those colors in the stone, that was just in the stone?
Yeah, it's just a beautiful natural stone. I love all the cabochons, all the picture stones. They're
that's beautiful.
And again, this piece comes off, and it's a pin pendant, and then it's a sculpture. So
very nice.
Kind of cool.
Oh, I love that one too.
So those are the kind of fancier pieces. Then I also do traditional pendants. Okay. Here's a beautiful stone. It's a type of jasper. It's a Malagano jasper.
Are you able to like individually pick the stones that you get? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, you know, the way people shop for jewelry, I shop for stones the same
Yeah.
way.
Oh,
It's great. Oh, here's a cool one. It's a, it's called rutilated quartz. It's actually translucent,
yeah, I
transparent.
can see
So
that. Wow.
and a little black onyx on top. Yeah, it's a cool piece. So, and I reverse set that one so you can see through it. You know,
That's cool.
yeah.
I
And
had
then,
no idea there were this many stones.
oh my gosh, there's gazillions of them, gazillions.
Wow.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's just opals.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Opals and peridot earrings. So, you know, I'm starting to make more bracelets because I love them, but they're just
Uh-huh.
pretty intense, you know. It's a lot of work. Oh, and then okay, here's a good segue. So
Okay.
here's a joint piece between my husband and I. This is
Nice. Oh, I love it.
it's a little beach stone, little stone from, this is probably from Lake Michigan or Lake Superior. We get most of our stones from Lake Superior.
I was going to
And
ask, are they all, pretty, you guys go out and find those on your own?
we hand pick them all. And
Wow.
so this is just a little one that he made for me to set as a piece of jewelry. So that's a little pendant, actually. See, there we go.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Very nice.
they're
So
cool.
he can do really detailed work too on the stone.
Yeah, pretty much. That's probably about as small as it gets because
Okay.
after that he can't get any smaller. So he started making those for me to set in jewelry, and then the faces are great. And then he tried one on a bigger stone,
Yeah.
and this is what we ended up with.
Oh,
And
these are so cool.
he's been making these for 25 years.
Look at that. I love it.
They're really cool.
Aw.
You know, they're all tabletop pieces. You know, they're
Yeah.
hand sized or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a great stone. And he
So
puts his face on it, and
when does he like look at a stone when he sees it and all of a sudden he sees the face, he knows how he's gonna do it when he picks the piece out?
yeah, sort of. You know,
Yeah.
like when we're picking stone, we, like I said, we go to the Great Lakes and we actually travel for miles. Actually, we have to, you know,
Oh,
go down the dune and walk. And of course, the ones that are right there are never good. We have to walk down a mile or two
of
down
course.
the beach, find the right ones,
Yeah.
and then haul them back. But yes, he has to pick them because he's got an eye for it. I can't, you know, how about this one? Oh no, that's not good enough. So
And what does he use, or how does he make that? Is it a carving, or how does he?
it's a carving. So what he does, okay, like in this case, he found this beautiful granite stone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
First thing he does is cut off the bottom. So
Okay.
on this one, and so it stands upright.
Right.
And then he hand cuts a stencil material. He puts that onto the stone, and that protects what you want to keep intact.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Takes the rest away, and whatever is exposed is what gets sandblasted away.
Okay.
So that's
Wow.
how he makes these crazy rocks.
Okay, now both of you, how did you both learn how to do all this?
Um, well, I've always been artsy. I have a design degree, you know, so
Oh, okay.
I've always, you know, worked in design.
Yeah.
And in fact, I met Spence, my husband, when he owned a company that installed office furniture, and I used to work for an office furniture manufacturer.
Okay.
And we did work at the merchandise mart. And
Ah,
in fact, where the One of a Kind show is,
exactly. Right.
that we actually figured out where we met, and it was our first booth space was pretty
Oh,
much the same showroom space.
no kidding.
So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then Spence is always, he's very I don't know, mechanical, very, you know, he's an engineer by thinking
Okay.
and training, and so he makes, we're both makers, we make stuff. So so he thought so he had this business that installed office furniture, and I worked for a different company. We ended up meeting each other, got together, I ended up coming to work for him actually later, and then we got romantically connected and fell in love.
Happily ever after, as they say.
He sold the business, and then he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "You know, I used to love making jewelry when I was a kid, and I started taking a couple of community classes, and it kind of all came back to me, and I'm pretty self-taught. And
Oh, wow.
next thing I know, I have too much jewelry to wear myself. So let's try a show. And he said,
Wow.
okay, if you're doing this now, I'm coming along. I need to do something to be a part of it. Besides, I mean, he built our displays and everything. That's all beautiful. Then like he started making the stones, and
I think it's a great combination, really.
oh, it's perfect. It works great.
Yeah,
So we have a lot of fun with it. So
that's awesome.
yeah, and right now, yeah, we're in that transition period from the shows. We'll still do shows, but we're also getting older, and it's really, really hard work. It's really intense,
It is a lot of work. Yeah.
physically and mentally, emotionally, whatever. And so we're probably going to be doing fewer shows anyhow, and doing more online stuff, and just kind of do the shows we want to do. So
Good.
that's the plan right now. So that's
Okay. Well, that sounds
everybody
good.
visit silverstonehandcrafted.com.
I am going to see if I can bring up your website right now.
There.
This is silverstonehandcrafted.com. So if you go on here, you'll see their exhibition schedule, their online store, more about the Watsons, all of that on there. So please do check that out when you have a chance, everyone.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mary. That was great.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. This is great.
Okay. Now we are going to talk with Arlene Burkhardt from Scallywags, Pet Furniture, etc. Arlene, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hey there. Well, really excited to be here today. It's been a very odd year, and it's nice to get together with people, even if it's virtually. So, so I run Scallywags Pet Furniture, and I basically take recycled items and make them into pet-related items. So I've been doing this since about 2014, and sometimes I just see something and it's like, that's going to be this. So it just hits me, you know?
Yeah.
And so just as an example, I found this cute little, it's an old-fashioned, I don't know if it was a suitcase, it's awfully small for a suitcase, but almost like a briefcase.
Yeah.
And so I made it into a little pet bed. It actually locks, so the lid's not going to fall on the dog or cat.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, it's just little kind of kitschy little things. I'm kind of a recycling freak. Very little comes out of my house that goes into the garbage. I belong to a site called TerraCycle. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
But you can send like things. You ever notice on certain bags that cannot be recycled?
Right. Yeah.
You have to throw those out. Well, this company takes those items, so I wash it out. I gather a whole bunch of them, and then I send it into TerraCycle. So that's how much I'm into recycling. It drives me insane.
No, that's a good thing. Good for you.
Things are thrown away. So, so another example, and I really love this one. It's an old train case.
Oh, wow.
From the 50s. Got this, I think, at a garage sale, and I turned it into a little.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's adorable.
And there's room underneath for storage.
Of course, yes. Look at that. So you could even take that out and use it separate if they wanted to.
Sure.
Not eat in the case, yeah. Oh.
So I can't take credit for all of this. My husband, for a long time, owned his own repairs and remodeling company. So we have a ton of tools, and not that I don't use them, but he's better at doing this.
Right. Well, that helps. It's a team effort.
Yeah. He's taught me how to use the tools, but
did that piece have the
I'm in a
mirror?
hurry.
Did that piece have the mirror in it already, or did you?
It already had the mirror.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can see on the camera, but
there's something on the mirror.
A little paw print. So I took some it's some etching like compound. So I put a stencil on the mirror, and then you put the etching compound on and let it sit for a certain amount of time, and then you wash it off, and then that leaves the whatever you want.
That's cute. I like that.
Yeah. So then I also like making like treat stations and leash stations. So this will
also those are hooks on the side.
hooks.
Okay.
Yeah. and then an old ball jar so you can put treats in.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Yep. And hang their leash from the hooks. Yes.
Right. Right. And this is just it's beautiful old barn wood.
Wow.
Hard to find, but
Yeah. Where do you find things like that?
Side of the road.
Really? Really? So you could be
Yes.
anywhere and you'll see something and go, I need that.
Stop the car.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find a lot of things at the Goodwill type stores,
Okay.
garage sales, antique markets. I love finding like old suitcases at antique markets. They're the best. And yeah, literally side of the road. This is something I recently found on the side of the road. It's a drawer. It's a beautiful drawer from a desk.
A desk drawer? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not done with it yet. This is just started, but so my husband cut this out of here.
Oh, right. Is this it's gonna be a bed too then?
It's a bed, yeah. And so it's going, for either a small dog or a cat.
Yeah.
And I'm working on making the bed for it. This is
Okay.
top of the material. So that's something I'm currently working on.
So you do a little bit of sewing for some of this as well, huh?
I do.
Yeah.
I sew quite a bit.
Yeah.
I also make dog toys, cat toys with catnip that I grow in my garden.
Oh, even better.
And here's another example of a larger item. This is a drawer that has been completed, and I don't know if you can see it too well from that angle.
It's similar to the last one, just much bigger.
It is. It's just larger. Yeah.
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 I think I actually saw. Don't you have a piece like that at that Pet Wants in Chicago? I think you.
So I have some of my items at Pet Wants Chicago North. Eva, she's awesome. Yeah, I have some of my items there, and a lot of the like treat and leash stations. The ones that I have there are a Chicago flag style. I don't have any of that with me right now, but you can find it on the site.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some of my larger beds there that she allows me space, which is awesome.
That's good. That's good. And then I know also one other thing I would love for you to mention to people. I know you're very involved with Young at Heart Pet Rescue. Can you just tell us a little bit about them? Because I hold them dear to my heart. So.
Sure, thank you. Actually, 10% of all my sales go to Young at Heart.
Oh, cool.
And so Young at Heart is a senior pet rescue. We started in 2005. I've been on their board since 2006. And we finally opened an actual location out in Woodstock last year. So we take in dogs and cats over the age of 7. And my family's been a foster for them since 2005. We've fostered like over 70 dogs and cats in our house.
That's amazing.
And, we've adopted a few of them. Had 2 dogs and 2 cats adopted. So.
And I bet some of them have had the best, most stylish pet beds, haven't they?
Yes, they do. Yeah. But so yeah, check out my Etsy site. I have more items on there. Some of these items are on there.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I think I have that brought up. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. This is the Etsy site for Scallywags furniture. And again, we're going to provide links later for everyone, but just so you can see that it is out there. Great.
Well, thank you for having all of us today. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Arlene. Okay, so now we are back to our last segment for the day. Back to me again, Kathryn Pagura with 16 Paws Enterprises. What I do is needle felted animal and pet portraits. A lot of people have no idea what needle felting is. So there are different kinds. There's 2-dimensional, there's 3-dimensional. What I do is the 2-dimensional kind, which is like a painting. It's like painting with wool. And I can give you an example of a piece that I have in progress. The material that we use is wool roving. It is mostly from sheep. And the place that I buy from is mostly in Big Rock, Illinois. That's my favorite vendor. I've actually been there and gotten to meet the sheep that this material comes from, which is so fun. On my site, there's a blog post about it if you want to check that out. I have a little video of the sheep. This is the sheep's wool that has been dyed, and it has not quite been spun into yarn yet. So it's called roving, and it comes in a large variety of different colors. I've tried all different kinds from all different sites, and it's really a matter of preference which one you like to use. My favorite is from Esther's Place in Big Rock, Illinois. It's just a longer fiber. For me, it's much better to work with than some of the other kinds that are out there. But the piece I'm working on now is a dog, and I've already done the eyes, the nose, the mouth, just to get it started to show you. But this is real quick, down and dirty lesson here of how you attach the roving to a felt background. There is a 2-inch thick foam pad underneath a very simple piece of felt. And then I take an outline of what I'm doing, because one of the very first pieces I did, I was working on it and I didn't have it outlined, and I finished it and the nose was off to the side a little bit. So now I always make sure I go ahead and outline it. It does move a lot on the felt. So that helps me stay within the lines, so to speak. But this is what you do. You take a special needle. It's a barbed needle, which I'm sure is not going to show up at all on here. It has little notches in it, and the needle grabs the fibers and you poke it into the felt, into the foam, just like this. You know, I place the roving where I want it, and I just poke it in like this. You may hear that noise of the needle going into the foam below. And the more you felt, the tighter it gets. And that's how it starts to take the shape that you want it to. Now, if the best part about felting, if you don't go too far, you can just pull it right back out again if you've made a mistake or you don't like the color. That's another thing. With the colors, you're never going to get the exact color that you need. You kind of have to create your own. So for example, this tannish color, I've taken a combination of a red and a blonde and a little bit of a brown, and you have to actually physically pull them together, keep the fibers going the same way, but you end up blending it together. You can add a little more darker light, and this is what the blended piece comes out looking like. So there's an awful lot of time spent creating the color that you need, because you're never going to find, especially with animals, you can't find those exact colors, but you can get pretty close. But that's pretty much how a 2-dimensional piece is done. Just for fun, last year I tried some of the 3-dimensional kind. I made some ornaments. I did bones that has the pet's name on one side and the year on the other. And this was really simple. If anyone wanted to get into felting, you can use a cookie cutter of a bone and you fill it up with the roving and you just felt it all together. And what happens when you're felting, it pulls the fibers together, like when you put a sweater in the dryer that you shouldn't and it shrinks. That's exactly what's happening. It's pulling the fibers close together. So that kind of a 3-dimensional piece is very easy. But I also did, this is a little cat toy. It's a mouse, and I put 2019 on one side and the pet's name on the other. So that's kind of fun. You'll see all different kinds of things online of people that do, you know, miniature versions of an actual pet, the whole thing. That's a whole different form that I have not gotten into. I enjoy the 2D myself. One other thing I started doing before I got into the felting, and I still do once in a while just for fun, I make costume ears that look like people's pets. This one is a German Shepherd. This one, I think this was a cat. So it's kind of fun. I keep doing that just for fun. But most of what I do is the actual 2-dimensional portraits. People send me their photos of the pets, and I do like a mock-up first, so we all get on the same page of what it's going to look like, and then I just put it together. I do mostly custom orders. Oh, and I think Arlene is showing us an example here. That piece, Arlene and I have known each other for a while, and that was one of Arlene's foster pets that she ended up keeping. I think they call that a foster fail. That was Leo, and that was the very first piece I ever did. I just gave it a shot, and I'm like, you know what? Let's see if I can do this. I knew Arlene had lost her dog, and I wanted to do something for her, and that's what started me on the process of doing all of these portraits. So I think you can see next to me here my big piles of all the different kinds of roving, all different colors. I've tried all different kinds. Someone requested a vegan portrait from me, and I ordered some vegan fibers. They're from different types of plants. And I was very sad to learn that you can't really get the two-dimensional portraits to work that way. So I was unable to do that, but I did give it a try. There's all different kinds of fibers out there. But that's pretty much what it is in a nutshell. Okay, one more thing before we go. I'm going to show you some of the pieces that I have back here. Some more examples. This is a piece I did of Conan, the wonder dog, who, if you remember the story a few years ago, it's a special forces dog who chased that terrorist into the tunnel and they captured him. I did that piece for Conan, just for fun. I did try to do a human portrait. This is my grandmother. When I started doing portraits, my grandmother was in a senior home near me, and I would bring her every single piece to see before I would send it out, because she was a seamstress all her life. And she really enjoyed the concept of the needle, even though it wasn't the same as sewing. So she would approve every piece for me before I sent it out. And so now she sits behind me as I do all of my work. And then some other pieces I've done. This is the globe, I believe you can see.
God, that's beautiful.
Thank you. And then trying to be fun and whimsical myself, I did a polar bear with sunglasses on. So I have a bunch of pieces that are not necessarily pet portraits. And then this is actually my my tribute to 2020. This is how my angry eagle. It's my 2020 piece, a very angry eagle. So I just wanted to share those with you as well. Thank you. And then one of the things that I was kind of bummed about this year, I didn't get to do a show with my dad. We were going to try and do a side-by-side booth at one of the local fairs. And unfortunately, we did not get to do that this year, but hopefully soon we'll be able to do that. He and I have collaborated on one piece so far. I think you have it there. Maybe you can share it with us. So this piece.
Show it to you. Can you see it?
Yep, that's one of his lotus flowers. He did the flower out of wood, and I did the little frog. It's one of the three-dimensional pieces that I did.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dad. Okay.
And
so,
here is a piece, one of the first pieces that you did.
Yes,
This is our pup.
that is their dog. Yes, yes. As I was learning, I tried to do a lot of dogs that I knew. Try them out. That's Rex. Okay, well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to our presentation today. I'm going to go ahead and do, at the end of this, I'll add the links to all of our sites, and we're going to try and post this for everyone to see on each of our sites. And then hopefully you'll all get a chance to check out each of our works. We like to support each other here. And if you have any questions, you can contact us directly afterwards and let us know what you think about this. If it was interesting, if you'd like to see some more, we might do some more of these in the future and maybe even get brave enough to do it live. So, thank you so much for joining us all. Everyone, happy holidays. Stay safe, take care, and we hope to see you out there again real soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.